Hello and welcome to the MMA Live Chat Show. I'm Rich Davie and it's Monday, March 10th, 2014. On today's show we have yours truly, David Gazelle, and David Petruitt. Thanks for taking part in another show, guys. I appreciate you guys taking the time to be here to discuss Jon Jones. Go ahead and say hello to anybody that might be listening.
Thanks for having me. Hello to everybody.
How's it going, everybody?
All right, guys, thanks again for being here. Let's go ahead and get started. Jon Jones, making news and making making enemies and defriending friends, it looks like, because I don't know what this guy's problem is. He seems to have a problem with respecting other people's opinions, and he likes to. I actually wrote an article on this, but the article, I never got it posted before the browser crashed, so I lost the whole article, but it had to do with Tyson Griffin defending Daniel Cormier's request to Jon Jones to have a fight. And Jon Jones kind of disrespected him, telling him that, well, you haven't fought anybody, you're not deserving, go fight somebody in the light heavyweight division, and then when you beat somebody that's notable, come back and talk to me. And he was just so condescending. As I was, well, since you're talking to me nice and you're being respectful, it's like, what the fuck, man? This is not the same Jon Jones that used to be around in the early days of his UFC career. It seems like the fame and fortune has gone to this guy's head, and it's hard to like this guy. The more he speaks, the more you tend to dislike the guy. But like I said, he was really disrespectful to Tyson Griffin, and in a direct message through Twitter that Tyson Griffin posted, he actually said, so, hey, anyway, what happened to you? Where are you? And he goes, if you need a job, I can give you a job as a water boy. And it's like, what the fuck, man? That's really disrespectful, man.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Jon Jones, because a lot of people are saying that it looks like he's trying to duck not only Gustafsson, but Cormier as well. So what do you guys think about that?
No, yeah, definitely. He said on Twitter that Gustafsson and Daniel Cormier should fight, and the winner of that should fight the winner of Jon Jones and Glover Teixeira. And it's like, really? You still trying to duck Gustafsson? I mean...
Well, DFW put that to a halt this morning, actually, because he said that it's Gustafsson next, and then Cormier gets the winner of that. So they're planning one more fight for Cormier, and it'll probably be someone that would have been like a Rashad Evans, ranked that high. And then, well, I would imagine Cormier winning that one, moving on, and then getting the next title shot. Probably against Gustafsson. I hope Gustafsson crushes Jones.
Yeah,
I hope so too. Does.
He got robbed the first time out.
He sure did. He sure did.
He got, Jones got that champ's edge that some people say is not there, but we all know it is.
I think that's bullshit. I mean, I didn't even agree with that in boxing. I mean, two guys step into the arena and, they step into that combat zone. It doesn't matter who you are. It's two guys fighting. Whoever the best man is should win.
Exactly. There should not be, you have to dethrone the champion. Yeah. Well, beating somebody is dethroning them. Exactly. Just because somebody has a belt doesn't automatically give them...
you don't get brownie points for that shit.
Exactly.
If anything, the way Jones is, he should have that brownie points completely taken away from that because of his attitude.
Yeah, I was a huge fan of the guy when he first came out.
Yeah.
And I used to tout him and praise him, and I took a lot of shit from people on other MMA boards and things like that for supporting the guy. And then as time went on, I still have to give the guy props for being the fighter that he is, because the only one who really looked like a threat to him was Alexander Gustafsson, and maybe Machida in the first round that they fought. But the only one who really came close to stopping him was Gustafsson, and actually I thought Gustafsson won. But so you got to give him props for the fighter that he is. But like Damon was mentioning on the forums where we chat, without that height and reach advantage that he had over every opponent, with the exception of Gustafsson, he really, didn't look all that great and impressive when he fights somebody his own size.
Exactly. He's just an above average fighter. When it comes to, I don't even know if you can say above average, because I thought Gustafsson won, but yeah, when when he's fighting somebody his own height and size, he looks completely normal. I mean, he does not stand out like he does against these smaller guys. And a lot of people always like to point to Stefan Struve and say, if then why hasn't Stefan Struve done so well, because of his height and reach? It's like Stefan Struve is fighting in a whole different weight class.
Yeah.
Heavyweight is the only division that allows fighters from 220 to 265 pounds. That's a big difference, especially when you have to weigh in at 205 for light heavyweight.
Yeah, and plus Struve, he doesn't really utilize his gift of his height to his advantage. He tries to stand there and duke it out, but hey, you don't stand there and duke it out with a heavyweight guy. Use your assets against him,
Exactly, and yeah, Jones is a skilled fighter. I will say that, but his skill is shown less when he's fighting a guy like Gustafsson, and that, I've always said, how well would Jones do against guys his own size, and the Gustafsson fight proved it. Not taking anything away from Gus. Gus is a good fight, but Gus is another one of those guys that has if he doesn't have the height and reach, he probably wouldn't be as successful as he is. That height reach advantage is something to consider, and people like to dismiss that because other guys can't utilize it.
Yeah.
But it is a factor.
And one of the points that I took away, because I thought Gustafsson won against Jones as well, but my wife, who knows nothing about fighting, she clearly thought that the white dude, as she put it, that he was the dominant fighter that night. And I mean, that's from someone that knows nothing about the sport, could clearly see that he was the tougher and stronger opponent that night.
Yeah, it's not difficult to see and watch two guys fighting and watch one guy get his ass beat.
Exactly. And I think sometimes that person that has the less of that info that comes in is a little bit more a better judge of going, well, yeah, that guy won.
Well, especially when it's blatant like that.
Absolutely.
Because Jones had never gotten beat up that bad. He was a wreck.
He got
he was
hammered. Some of those punches I've seen subsequently.
Yeah.
You should watch the slow-mo replays of him just getting drilled in the face.
I know. I put that on one of the shows that we did because I enjoyed that so much.
Oh, it is a good one.
Yeah, like I said, I really loved the guy when he first came out because he was, and I think it's a facade. And like I said, I wrote an article where I mentioned all this, but I'm going to have to try to recreate that article. But I mentioned it. It seems to me like it's a facade that he's built for himself. This respectful, religious kind of holy guy, but he's really anything but that. I mean, his true colors and character have come out, since, like Damon is saying,
the first
Shogun fight.
Yeah, when he knew he was going to be fighting for the championship against Shogun, that's when it all started. He really became cocky. He's shown his true colors, and like with him wanting Gustafsson and Cormier to fight, I think he's trying to take one of the contenders away. He turned down.
He's trying to bump somebody back down the ladder.
Yeah, some people say, well, Jones was never offered the Gustafsson fight, and it's like, yeah, right.
Yeah,
Dana White was talking about that right after the fight.
He was.
And Jon Jones wanted Glover Teixeira. I mean.
So what do you guys think happens in that fight? I'm curious what you think about that one.
To tell you the truth, I would love to see Glover Teixeira take out Jon Jones.
I would love to see that too, and I think if he gets his hands on him, from what we saw from the Gustafsson fight with Jones, I think if Glover can land the hands on Jones's jaw, Jones is going night-night.
Yeah, I think Jones has been exposed. I think people, if they can learn to get on the inside, and maybe just go shoot for a takedown or something.
Don't stand on the outside with Jon Jones.
Exactly. If you can get on the inside with them, you can do a lot. And I think a lot of the thing has been like with Silva. A lot of Silva's opponents had fear, against him, and you can't go into a fight like that if you have no fear. You can do a lot.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
mentally defeated before you even step into the octagon, chances are you're not going to have a very good shot at winning.
Exactly.
Or even putting a good show on even.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
I think that mystique about Jones is gone after the Gustafsson fight. I
No, and
think
then also Vitor. Vitor damn near ripped his arm off in round one of
Yeah.
the fight that they had.
yeah,
Did
exactly.
you know Vitor made, and I don't know if anybody else heard this, Vitor made a comment. He let go because he knew he was going to break his arm. And he didn't want to do that. I know. You know Vitor. Vitor will always come up with something, but he goes, oh, I could have broken his arm, but I didn't
Well, he
want to
damn
do
near
that."
did because
Yeah.
Jones. Yeah.
Jones,
Isn't it
Jones'
interesting,
arm
eh?
was hurting after that.
Yeah. I
Again?
had
again with
Yeah.
the height and reach, if he didn't have that height or them long arms, that sub would have been finished.
I think so. Yeah, if those two guys were the same height, Jones clearly probably would have lost that one because that leverage that Vitor would have had on the ground had he been a taller fighter, I don't see any way that Jones would have got out of that.
No.
I just got to say this. I love Teixeira. He's a Brazilian farm boy. He's humble. He's honest. He's hardworking. And if there's someone that is deserved to be a champion, it's someone like that. And I would love him to knock that city slicker bastard out. I would. You're right.
It's like we all were once fans of the guy, and we all loved him in the beginning, but he's just turned us all off to him. As a fighter, I still like him, but
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
let
I
the
like
guy.
showed us
I like
true
to watch
colors.
his fight, but I do not care for the guy. He's just too cocky for his own good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be humble. Even if you know, like all fighters have that confidence in their mind that they are indestructible. But the important thing is to separate that, and to the fans and to everyone that love the sport is to appear humble and generous.
Especially when you portray yourself as this righteous, holy kind of guy who believes in God and humility. The guy is nothing like the facade that he's built for himself.
No.
You're
And like I said,
right.
what really spurred me to write that article was when I saw how he disrespected Tyson Griffin for, in a private message to him through Twitter, telling him, oh, well, you can be my Waterboy if you're looking for a job. It's like, what a fucking ass.
And you know what? And Tyson Griffin isn't deserving of accolades for putting his own life on the line to go in the octagon many, many times. And that's literally Tyson Griffin was there in the octagon before Jon Jones ever was.
Yeah.
So
Tyson Griffin was a great fighter.
he certainly was, and a good guy too. I'd never heard him ever diss anybody or talk bad like that.
But it's funny. I guess Jones didn't expect those private messages through the DMs on Twitter to go public.
No, hey.
See, Griffin follows me on Twitter because we would talk about fishing because he's a fishing guy too.
Oh yeah.
And he's a humble guy, man. I mean, he posts, like, you see him post on Twitter what he's eating and stuff like that. He's just a regular guy, and when to see Jones disrespect him like that or to hear about it from you, I didn't see that, but I'll have to definitely look that up.
I'm going to rewrite that article because, like I said, I usually don't write articles unless I'm motivated by some sort of an injustice, I just do not like these cocky ass fighters who disrespect people. I have a thing with that. When we're talking MMA, I know a lot of people don't believe this is an aspect of MMA, but still it's martial arts, and they teach, and implore that you respect your opponent, and we don't see that from Jon Jones.
Unfortunately, the way a lot of fighters are coming up now, that's getting thrown out. They're not training martial arts disciplines the way they used to. It's they even coined the term MMA training. It's they're taking certain aspects and they're taking the actual discipline out of the martial art and just
I'm actually seeing a lot of
techniques.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing a lot of the older fans, that have been watching the sport for 20 years now. They're really becoming turned off to this new mentality that seems to be embracing, the disrespect and the WWE mentality. A lot of older fans are really turned off by that from what I'm seeing.
Yeah. I mean, like I've said it before, man. Let the WWE be the WWE. Let the UFC be the UFC.
Yep. Keep your WWE out of my MMA.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for throwing this together, Rich. It's such a treat to have a good bud do something like this.
Okay, I love having you guys on, and yeah, we put up a few more new articles. I did put that article up about Jon Jones that I spoke about on the last show. I did recreate it, not quite as good as the original one that I wrote, and then I also put up the original article that I wrote about Jon Jones like 2.5 years ago, where I was actually in favor of him and I supported him. So I wanted to put that up in contrast so people could see how I actually changed in the 2.5 year period of just loving the guy to absolutely love the guy as a fighter, but he just turned me off as an individual. I just don't care for the way that he's taking things now, embracing that heel role that he seems to be enjoying. So.
Yeah, that was a what the fuck article when I started reading it, and I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
No, fuck you, Ed Scott said to me, "What the fuck, Rich?"
And then I seen you said it was an old one. I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, you got to admit that article had a lot of valid points from the original article that I put up, from 2.5 years ago, because a lot of people were not giving Jones the respect that he actually deserved, and there was no reason for it initially, because initially he seemed like a really nice, likable, humble guy, real pious individual, and you didn't see all of that, attitude that he was hiding behind that facade that he's created for himself. And now that he's come out and showed his true colors, you can really see that it was a facade that he was hiding behind, and that really turned me off to the guy. So
yeah, but that height and reach thing that I've said many times, people always diminish that, and I was like, Gustafsson showed that his height and reach is his major advantage.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, he was way bigger and pretty much kind of like Anderson Silva. He pretty much enjoyed that advantage in his division as well. So kind of like Jon Jones and Anderson Silva were both in the same scenario and position in their respective divisions.
Yeah, but Silva never had a 10-inch reach advantage on almost every opponent. Right?
No, I'm not saying exactly the same, but I'm saying similar situations and scenarios in their divisions.
Yeah, and Silva was much better striker, as we could see.
Oh yeah, meanwhile he was always the bigger man usually.
Yeah, I mean there's a lot of guys. I mean look at Hendricks. Hendricks unbelievably cuts. I think it's 45 pounds to fight at welterweight.
Yeah, that's going to have to stop for him because
Yep.
he did not look good in that last fight when he had to make that weight at the last minute.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and he's injured as well. That's more news.
Yeah, the torn bicep.
Yeah. So he's going to be out for a while. So that's probably going to be 9 months before we see him fight again, more than likely.
Good Lord.
Yeah, November, I think he's saying he wanted to fight again. Yeah. So it kind of...
Jesus, go ahead.
Yeah, it kind of throws a wrench into what I had speculatively planned for the UFC to do.
Yeah.
Not that they'd ever pay attention to me. But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you're talking about that article that you wrote and posted on the forum, too. Yeah, don't be afraid to tweet those out on Twitter.
I know. I am like I said before, I'm a computer non-veteran person. I'm learning all stuff too, so I'm getting way better though. I got to admit. So.
Yeah, well, feel free. Like I said, you also have access to the Live Chat Hour Facebook page too, so you can tweet stuff out from there. All right, guys, it was fun. We'll see how that pans out. But for now, we've reached the end of the show, fellows, and it's time to say goodbye. So if you want to say goodbye, now is the time to do it.
Take it easy, Rich. Take it easy, everyone. You too, David. Take it easy.
You too, Damon, Rich, and you guys have a great weekend. And if you guys do get a chance to sit down and watch the fights, enjoy. All
right, guys. Thanks again for being here. I appreciate it. We'll see you the next time.
See you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.